today we have a special guest with us. He is Mr. Ashwani Kumar, Senior Fund Manager with Nippon India Mutual Fund. And he's having experience of over 27 years. And he's managing funds since 2003. And the average fund size is 8,000 crores. So almost over $1 billion he's managing with Tax Savers Fund. And I'm sure that his views are going to definitely bring some sanity to our unnerved kind of and uncertain times we are witnessing at present. So, the most important thing is reading his fact sheet. I got to understand that he is very good at picking up sectors or trends where there are tailwinds, and this has been mentioned there. And at the same time, he invests into high conviction ideas as well. So probably we all, as a participant and the attendees, are definitely going to benefit with his rich experience. So I welcome you all. And the title of the webinar, which Ashika Group is doing, is Market Outlook and Investment Strategies. And before I jump into the Q&A, and I would like to give a brief background about Ashika Group as well. We are a financial institution, and we are in this business for 25 years. We have deep penetration in the Eastern region. So we are a premier financial institution as far as Eastern India is concerned. So though we have pan-India presence, we have more than 125 clients, retail clients, and we are serving to over 100 institutions and 100 family offices. We are into investment banking, we are into wealth management, NBFCs, and so on and so forth. So with this background, now I'll straight away get into the Q&A series. And the first question to Mr. Ashwani Kumar. First of all, thank you for accepting and coming us for the show.
It is my pleasure. Yeah.
Yeah. So the first question is, what is the market outlook amid pessimism in the current scenario?
Yeah. See the good afternoon, good evening to everyone. And I hope all of you are safe. And this is a very contagious thing. So you have to be very careful in this, because, as a health issue, we may survive the bad market, but we should also survive the infection, in my view. That is very critical for everyone to understand. Most important, as far as the market is concerned, see, there are two issues in this. One is the health related issue, which is there basically where the worldwide people are working to find vaccine or cure. And if they are not able to find in shorter time frame, they are in India, what they are trying to do is by a lockdown, they are keeping the whole thing closed so that they can prepare adequately for the medical emergency which may arise if the number of cases go up. Just to give you an instance, in this situation, the severe patients required 11 to 21 days of ventilator. Therefore, they want to keep those ventilator beds and everything ready, and therefore this lockdown has been done across the country. Some places now it has been lifted, but metros are still quite badly locked down, and the cases are nearing 50,000. So now what has happened? See, this lockdown has applied brakes to the whole economy, because it is not by design, it is not by our own intention that we are locked inside our homes or every factory. Many of the factories are closed or have started with very slow number, basically because of infectious nature of this disease. So now in the last 1.5 months, actually turnover for many businesses for the last 45 days, we take 8 days here, 8 days there, and let's say 8 or 9 days there, 10 plus 30 plus I would say another 15 days you take. So out of, let's say, 365 plus 15 days, 380 days, starting from March 15th, we are down for last 2 months. So the economy, except for the essential part of the services, which is like electricity, water, medical places, chemists, etc., hospitals, now some part of agriculture, lot of places are significantly closed. They are significantly closed. But what has also happened, this has been, in my view, if you look at the market and just look at one number, that Nifty Pharma has gone up 35%, whereas Nifty Bank has come down 35%. So there is a gap of 80% is the divergence. One has gone down 35, 40, another has gone up 40 from those prices of March. So March, or let's say peak prices of in March 18th or 19th, when the market peaked basically. So what is now required? See, from an Indian standpoint, 2 or 3 global things are positive. One is that despite being a large country, still the cases are 50,000. And in the next 15, 20 days, if they can control it, I think we would have won the war in this, the one war, because you imagine if, let's say, अगर 1 लाख, 2 लाख, 3 लाख या 5 लाख cases हो जाते और काफी सारे लोग, people would have died, it would have caused a very significant problem, which is now not the case as of now. And this is also concentrated on 4 or 5 cities, which is Bombay, Delhi, Indore, Tamil Nadu to an extent, Ahmedabad to an extent. So metros are closed, but a lot of cases are in very, very concentrated locations, and with due diligence, you can block them. So I think what has happened in the market, 2 or 3 things. Globally, America has given significant amount of stimulus. US, $3 trillion, and maybe $3 trillion more will come, which has helped the US market come back in a very, very big way. Because right from 23rd March up to 23rd April, or let's say right from, let's say, middle of February, when Mr. 25th of Feb, I would say, and up to whole month of March, foreign investors took out 60-70,000 crore rupees. And in the month of April, they have put in maybe 400-500 crores. And in the last 7-8 days, maybe they would have taken out 5,000-6,000, 7,000 crores kind of thing. Now, the intensity of selling as far as the global markets is concerned, if you even now see Dow Jones or any of the markets, they are now not as volatile. And there are more number of days which are when they are gaining versus. So Fed has come to the rescue of the world, I would say, and they have helped sentiment all around. See, Japan, Korea, and China were less impacted, but their markets also had linkages. For example, China exports 40% of its GDP. Now they were exporting. So I think one important point you have to remember, that Fed's actions have led to global stabilization of markets. One, which is developed markets, and also the redemptions in the other markets have gone down. Second, they have brought the rates to zero, which has forced other guys also to reduce quite significantly. Therefore, they have also, India has also reduced, and even RBI has given significant amount of leeway. Third is that now in India, if the cases stabilize, there will be a relative positivity. Although what has happened, that your earnings have got shifted by maybe 6 to 9 months in many cases. See, except agriculture, pharmaceutical, FMCG, other areas, the earnings have got shifted, because for 2 months, there is nearly no activity in many of the sectors. If the factories are closed, dealer is closed, manufacturer is closed, the buyer is locked inside his house, then what do you do? So everything is closed. So I would say FY21, I basically, I have done one very basic work. Say there are 2 parts to this market. One is life, and second is the lifestyle. When it comes to lifestyle, it is air travel, tourism, luxury purchases. These will get impacted, because air travel and tourism will start when you find a medical solution, or when you feel very, very safe. So it may take few months to normalize. Even if you open, let's say, Taj Bengal, not many people are going to go there, travel there, or go to the restaurants, or go to a bar very easily, unless really they are confident. So that fear has to go away. At the same time, but they account for 10-15% of the activity of the economy, but they are very important. The important part they play in India. Now there are other businesses like construction, road, railways, agriculture, health, education, which after some point people will go, electricity generation, pharmaceutical. So some of these businesses, they will continue to be okay, because once you have social distancing at 40 degrees kind of temperature, people will continue to construct do their construction, as they have started construction projects on road, power, etc., with social distancing and all kind of measures. So there are these 2 parts of the economy. One is life, and the second is the lifestyle. So the lifestyle part will take some time. Now it will also lead to second development, which will be that people will try to save more in the near term, because a lot of people have got impacted, their incomes have got impacted, and cash flow has got impacted. So they will try to save more. But I would say we are now waiting for very important part, is that what kind of stimulus comes in. And I'll give you some numbers. Now, in India, there are 12 crore people who work with roughly, let's say, 5 or 6 crore medium and small and enterprises. Now, 12 crore people means roughly with a family size of 4 or 5, 50, 60 crore people are getting impacted because these MSMEs are 29% of India's GDP and they are 48% of total exports out of their total turnover. 29% of the GDP and 48% of that is exports. So they are a very large component. So that is where the package I think will come in, and that is where it is required because your neighborhood store, whenever the things open, the normal grocery shop, textile shop, everything, they may have lost business, but they will come back. But these MSMEs, because they are paying their fixed costs, they are making low margin money, low margin they were making. It is very critical for them to come back. And if you really look at it, 29% of GDP is roughly $810 billion. And 2 months of that, you divide it by 6. So roughly 145, 50 billion dollars kind of output has got impacted in the 2 months, basically. So if that is the case, they need to be revived. But there are a lot of these MSMEs who are into pharmaceuticals, who are into FMCG, who are into construction. So anybody related to travel, tourism, small businesses, they will get impacted. Other things will do normally well. So I feel in the markets, if you see, except for FMCG, many of the stocks and maybe some pharma stocks, select pharma stocks in MNCs, other stocks are very, very cheap. And what is likely to be the government response? In my view, government cannot give some thousands of crores to everybody. It cannot give to 130 crore people, everybody 1 lakh rupees or 2 lakh rupees or 50,000 rupees. They will go back on their old formula that basically money is available cheap. They will provide some benefit to MSMEs and then they will scale up the infrastructure investment, because in the last 4 or 5 years, the whole focus of the government was on infrastructure, but somehow because of low interest rate, consumption was going up. Consumption went up. Just to give you an example, 2 lakh crores worth of mobile phones were sold in 2018. So now what people will do, rather than spending on things which are not necessary, they will focus on spending on things which are very important and critical. And also some of the businesses like personal mobility, because some two-wheelers, people would like to have their own two-wheelers. Let's say if you have a driver, you would not like him to come by train or come by tram or come by bus. You would care for him. You will say, take a second-hand two-wheeler so that he comes neat and clean to you. Even your servants are there. You would not like them to go in the crowded trains, etc. So some of these trends will be there. So we were just before this, we are having a call with the infrastructure secretary, where they are saying from 50 lakhs, they want to go to 100 lakh crores in the next 5 years. This year, maybe the way it was to happen, it may get a bit postponed. But the market has adequately discounted. The second result of this will be government requires resources. So next year, what the government will do, it is already increasing taxes in some way on liquor and other stuff. But next year, they will have to privatize in a very, very big way. In my view, this year, BPCL, Concor and LIC and Shipping Corporation is targeted. So I think LIC looks very difficult this year. Next year, in my view, they will also increase their privatization list. So I feel quite comfortable at this point in time. See, if this COVID thing doesn't accelerate further in a meaningful way and a lot of industry starts and dealerships open, which the CII or other guys are asking for, with let's say initial hiccups, because when the showrooms are not open, who is going to come to those showrooms? But I think market prices are down 30, 40, 50% in many cases. So it is discounted in a very large way. Second important thing is, let's say, where do you put your money as an investor? So now you want to preserve capital, that's right. But you put it in the FD where you get, let's say, 6% in a bank in a year on the FD. Next year also you get 6%. Year after that, 3 years, you get cumulative 18%. You multiply it by 33%, let's say tax rate, or 25% tax rate, for example. You are eventually getting ranging from 12% to 14% as the total return in 3 years. Whereas equity, you are getting stocks at 6, 9, 10 Ps for public sector companies with 10% dividend yield. and also large part of the ETF selling being over, and large part of Indian economy plays, stocks are now very, very cheap, except for FMCG and one or two or few MNC companies in pharma. Many of the stocks are very reasonable. It is right that they will have one bad quarter. I think June quarter will be very bad, but it is an external event. It is not something. And some implication, if they solve this SME thing, we will see the situation come back in a very, very meaningful way. In a very meaningful way. So what I feel, what will, and another factor which is in our favor, everybody in the world is very angry against the Chinese. So lot of companies want to shift away their incremental production to other destinations. So India, because of the tax reforms and 15% manufacturing tax last year, will get this benefit. Lastly, crude oil prices, which had gone down to $20 because everywhere there was a lockout, nowhere the cars were running. Now, as gradually the economy is open, they have come back from 20 to 31 and maybe we go to $40, $45. And government has taken advantage by increasing excise duty without changing the fuel prices. The advantage of lower prices of crude the government has taken, and they have increased the excise duty and these duties, which will give government 1.5 lakh crores, basically the one which came 2 days back. So I feel government will focus on 2 or 3 things. One, infra. Second, make in India. Third, the focus will be on exports. How do we get market share from China? Benefit of oil to us is around $50 billion. So roughly $30 is the price change. 4 million barrels a day is the demand. 365 days is the total number of days. So we have $50 billion benefit, out of which government has taken away 150,000 crores. So at this point, I feel 50% of India is fine. Rural is fine. 35% of the 25% of the output and 70% people, government employees are fine. Private guys in FMCG, pharma, many of the businesses are fine. SME is one area where they will focus on. So I think large scale focus will come back, and we will, I think from October, December quarter, we will begin to see normalization and reasonable recovery in my view. And I think now government is also seized of this situation and they will go all out to really accelerate this economic growth, because anyway they have been losing elections in many other places. Now this certainly COVID is one step where they have taken, where people have been locked down. They will take significant amount of measures to really accelerate this economy. So I am very, very positive. I am not saying some correction cannot happen if foreigners come in and sell, or maybe some redemptions happen in Indian market, which I don't think should happen, because there is absolutely no need to panic. When we went into this, we were into low economy, we were growing slowly, and government was focusing on infrastructure. So I think infrastructure, basic industries where the stocks are very, very cheap, China is trying to do accelerate. For example, I looked at China data, the truck sales in April were 52% higher. Construction equipment demand is 14-15% higher versus last year. And Japan is open, Korea is open, US is beginning to open. So I think a lot of sectors are there. Basic sectors in India, which used to be, if you recall, अगर आप में से कोई भी लोग जो 2001-3 में थे, अब ये prices 15-15 साल के low prices हो गए हैं बहुत सारे shares में. So I think we are on a very, very solid wicket, and the top 200-300 companies in India, whether they are multinationals, PSUs or high quality Indian groups, they are very well positioned for future. And the moment market begins to move away from this FY21 का पहले half का decline to FY22 and 23, we'll begin to see improvement in the whole situation. So this is my take on the market. This is a great time. I am not saying that 9100 cannot become 8500 or 8300. See, these are markets, they are very, very unpredictable. But point is, the leadership will shift away from banking to non-banking, to the basic industries, infrastructure, cement companies, public sector companies, which are 8-9%, 10% dividend yields, multinationals, which have very, very good positioning, which are zero debt and net cash companies. So that is where we are positioned. Today, we are positioned 15% in banks, 20% in infra companies and capex companies, most of which are multinationals. Metals, we have 6%. PSUs, we have 20%, which is NTPC, Coal, PFC, REC, Midhani, BPCL, HPCL in oil and gas. Autos, we are there in two-wheelers in Hero Moto, because we believe the rural should do very, very well and people should buy. There is pent-up demand for this. Then there is companies like Ashok Leyland, which will benefit from trucks. We have TVS Motors, which is exports and domestic, and we have some exposure to consumer companies. So I think although we are down maybe 5-7% more year to date, but our portfolio is very well positioned, because ultimately government, if it has to turn around this, has to focus on growth. And the moment growth comes back, all these companies which are there in the portfolio, they are very, very well positioned. So I think I would say we should stay safe. We should worry about the infection part more. We should continue to put money, continue the SIPs, in fact, increase the SIPs. And now I think the savings rate will also go up. And now people are versus the bond products or hybrid products, I feel the attention will shift to pure equity. So I know it is difficult in some of the products. For example, in tax also, you must be facing difficulty. But I think our portfolio is very well positioned. We had made some changes where we had brought in Reliance to 7%. We had also added some HDFC Bank and some ITC, etc., and reduced more leveraged companies in the portfolio in the month of March. Since we are talking in May, those portfolio impact is there. So those portfolio changes are already made. So we are quite well positioned. So this is my take. Invest to the fullest ability in equity, but invest with a 1, 2, 3 year kind of time frame. And I think whenever crisis has happened in India, this is 1991 moment. I would say I am quite confident that at some point in time, government will really unleash big spending infrastructure, because that is the way out of this. You cannot create economy by buying mobiles from abroad, buying renewable panels from abroad, or people taking their money out of India and buying homes there. So I think the government focus will come back. The discretionary spend may take a time to come back, but the other things like infra companies, the benefits of movement away from China to India will benefit India in a significant way. So I would stop here and now look to your questions. Whatever names I have taken, they are just for illustration for us.
Okay, great. Now the thing is, when you say that the industrials and the manufacturing companies are going to do well, but in the interim, when we look at present, the balance sheet of many of the companies have got fractured, no doubt about it, because of the 50-55 days lockdown. And the kind of dent, as you said, it's going to be 15 lakh to 20 lakh crores kind of dent in productivity. So the future probably might be looking good, and future we should always be optimistic, and we should be macro bull in India because of the kind of demographic profile we have here in India. But at the same time, in the interim, what do you think the government will do in terms of fixing this hole of 15 lakh to 20 lakh crores in the GDP? Because, and at the same time, the most important thing is capital is the passport to success. Now, on one hand, the balance sheet have got fractured. The manufacturing companies or any other businesses requires capital. And on the other side, you are seeing that financials are getting risk averse to a very large extent. And because of which the NPAs will also go higher and they will So how is it that the government is going to fit in and fix the macro and the stimulus which we were talking about? How much stimulus is required to fix this dent?
Yeah, I feel, see what has happened. They have given moratorium, some electricity benefits, some kind of PPF things, but they are not very, very sufficient. I would say, actually speaking, maybe $40-50 billion kind of stimulus is required, because people are asking for $100 billion and $120 billion, which I don't think this government will give. Because what will happen, let's say if you provide very high stimulus and try to really grow. See, one limitation in India is, although India is such a vast country and there are so many states, even if you put a lot of money suddenly, it doesn't really translate. Because see, you have to, इसका मैं आपको एग्जांपल देता हूँ, बहुत ही सिंपल. आप सब लोगों ने मैथमेटिक्स पढ़ा होगा 7th 8th क्लास में या 7th 6th 7th 8th 9th में. ये ऐसा है कि आपके जो प्रोजेक्ट्स, जहां पर भी प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं, द प्रोजेक्ट्स व्हिच आर ऑलरेडी देयर इन प्लेस, यू हैव टू एक्सेलरेट देम. फॉर एग्जांपल, जैसे लार्सन एंड टोब्रो प्रोजेक्ट इज देयर व्हिच वाज नॉट रनिंग फॉर द लास्ट 1 month, फॉर एग्जांपल. Now in the June, from the month of June, July, again the rains will come across the country. So suddenly, see, you have old projects. Every company in infrastructure sector has got pipeline of projects which are 3 times that size of their turnover. For example, Larsen has 1 lakh crores of turnover, whereas it has got 3 lakh crores of order book. Now, what they must do and they will do is to really accelerate the amount of work so that the multiplier impact on steel, construction equipment, commercial vehicles, cement, manpower. Only one issue is that in some cases, some of the migrant laborers have gone back home after these trains have been allowed. So some companies may get impacted. So what they need to do, the government needs to really give some kind of money to some of these companies in the SME space and also in the manufacturing space, particularly the infrastructure large projects, so that those laborers come back and they feel comfortable. So that is what they will do. That is one part. Second, as I said, SME, see the loss which has happened. See, how do we calculate if the SME output is, let's say, 30% of GDP, let's say, for example. Now it is 30% of GDP is $800 billion. You divide it by six to get 2 months output. You get 800 by 6, you will get something like 140 or 120 billion dollars. But the loss on that, the net loss is 10% margin loss. Let's say they were making 10% cash profit. That is what they have lost in 2 months. So they need to give them 12, 13, 14, 15 billion dollars kind of line at subvention rate, at very, very low rate, very, very low rate. They need to give this. And also simultaneously, as you said, the banks will be unwilling to lend. Now, if you recall today's CNBC, both Yes Bank and SBI chairman were saying that we should form a bad bank, which means whatever bad assets we have left on the corporate side, some of the assets we should remove and take it into a bad bank, create a structure, take it, so that what happens then, banks are free to lend. Because earlier the NPA was in corporate. Now the fear is that because of job losses, the NPA will be in the retail. So in some section it will be there. The banks are acknowledging that there will be some NPA. But also we have to see in stock market, what is very important, how much of the bad news is discounted. See, tomorrow, today, given the stock prices, the expectation of a very high stimulus is very, very low. Anybody you ask, anybody you inquire among your clients also, they are quite, I would say not, people are not very optimistic. We have just bounced back from 75, which is more led by Reliance. If you see, Reliance from 1,000 has gone to 1,500. So it is a 50%. So 5-7% gain only has come from Reliance. So 25% of the gain is only coming from one stock. Even ITC, which had gone down to 138, which was 5%, has gone to 163, 64. So that is another 2-3-4%. So many of the stocks which made those lows have come back 15-20%, but a large part of gains are concentrated on very, very few stocks. So I feel the government, the way it will try to fix is, today give SMEs the benefit, give some kind of, let's say, more money in the hands of people who have lost their jobs. Because if you give money to hotels and airlines today, there is no benefit, because anyway, you have to say a backstop, and government has to provide the loan loss guarantee that I am giving you this package of 3 lakh crores. Bankers should go along and lend 3, 4, 5 lakh crores to these SMEs. And if there is a 10%, 15% loss, that loss will be government loss. That government will bear that 75,000 crores loss, not RBI. Government will bear. And I think that is the formula which will eventually come, because if agriculture guys are fine, if you fix MSME, you will be in a good situation. So that is what their target will be. And then when the economy rebounds with some infra spend, lower interest rates, accelerated, some pent-up demand, at some point near the festival period, give a 6-month window for two-wheelers and cars, that you reduce the GST duties, GST for 6 months, so that people who have pent-up demand, whose businesses have normalized, they go ahead and buy those vehicles. So that is how I think they will plan, in my opinion. And these people don't want to be seen as helping the rich. So they will not do it now. Today, they will try to fix up the small guy who has lost their job. And second, they will try to fix up the MSME and provide credit. And the bad bank is, now the pressure is high. If see the bankers, if they become reluctant and the demand comes and they don't lend, we can end into a separate problem. We can get into a serious problem. So I think that is what they will try to fix. So in my view, in the next 5-6 days, some kind of package you will see. I think it is not very far. And if 17th, 18th is the opening date for many states, although a couple of states like Telangana or some places like Ghaziabad have said 31st and 29th and 31st respectively. So I think this is how we should view the whole situation.
Okay. So, as they say that the chain of habits are too slow to build and too
Yeah,
hard to be broken. So,
yeah.
with this lockdown, how do you see the lifestyle is going to change for India as a whole? And in such a scenario, what do you think? What all sectors will emerge and come out, and the tailwinds are going to be there? And as an investor, how should one position in the winning sectors
Yeah,
going forward from it?
see, initially, as I said, there is one is life and second is lifestyle. So what will happen? Initially, people will focus more on essential. So what happens? You start consuming more of data. Second, what happens that let's say if TCS is saying that by 2025, some of the people will work from home only permanently because that model is working and they can look at their productivity. So what is happening? The power side, when a lot of people are at home. See, today you are having peak power is in the afternoon because a lot of people are inside home. They are running their air conditioners, whosoever is having, and the factories are closed or let's say are working at low capacity, the offices are closed. But even let's say when we go back to offices, first 25% people will go, maybe people above 50 will not go, or people with serious illnesses of diabetes or hypertension, they are not serious, but in conjunction with this, so what will happen? Power demand will certainly begin to go up. One. Second, the healthcare sector, India will invest a lot of money in healthcare. Now, India has, I was seeing one of the India Today channels, if you see, and I was quite shocked that they were showing some hospital where on one bed there is a patient who is live and whose treatment is going on. On the next bed just adjacent to him, there is a body which is lying. This might be a very peculiar case, one in, let's say, 1,000 hospitals in India, but they would like to build this against the pandemic, so healthcare infrastructure will go up. So in this, for example, we have exposure to one company, which is a Calcutta company, which is BOC earlier and now Linde, because they have exposure to medical gases. So medical infrastructure, medical gases, but in medical hospital making, there are a lot of companies. But for example, Linde is one of the pioneer companies. Wherever you go in hospital, you will see those Linde or BOC oxygen plants. So every ICU bed requires one oxygen cylinder, and you cannot compromise on this. So this is one area. One is data, second is lifestyle, third is, to an extent, the small cars at some point in time. Today, you would say that rather than going on Ola and Uber kind of ride share, unless they put a windshield and it becomes highly protected, as they are trying to do in Kerala in some places. But a lot of people would like to use their own personal transport. So once the stability comes in, people will like to spend that money. Fourth, most important is that our savings were going abroad in two ways. We were buying 2 lakh crores of mobiles. 2 lakh crore is the value of cars sold in India. Now people will focus on important products. So just to give you an example, last year in the Navratra time, in between September 29th, 30th, 1st and 2nd October, in 4 days, 11,000 crores of mobile were sold through Flipkart and
Right.
Amazon, which is equivalent to roughly 15 lakh two-wheelers. So now people will say, my child wants a mobile or a two-wheeler. I should first give him a two-wheeler because he is independent, he is safe. You would also like your driver to come on a two-wheeler rather than a crowded train, because this fear for some time, unless some vaccine comes out very quickly, it is going to remain. Next is basically the e-commerce will further increase because you would like to initially go away, not move in a crowded place till the time this comes in. So power is one, data is one, local travel will go up, because what will happen eventually when people don't go abroad, see, for 5, 6 months, 7 months, unless you get a vaccine, you will not travel to Far East in anywhere, to Hong Kong, China, anywhere, koi nahi jayega. People who are going to Europe, Italy and all, people will not go to Italy, US and all, because people would just like to go in a place in India which is safe and which can maybe travel. So the local travel will go up. So travelers will, those who really want to travel, they will spend their money in India. So local tourism, in my opinion, will go up. The need for more of road transportation, personal transportation, smaller cars and two-wheelers will certainly begin to go up. Maybe many of the products like uh, 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 air conditioners also at some point in time will go up, because if a lot of people uh, are working from home, one part of the demand will come. At the same time, some demand has got destroyed also because people have got impacted. Most important part of this, in my opinion, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You can go ahead.
Yeah. So most important part, I think, which is very critical for one to note, is this Reliance JioMart experiment. What it is trying to do, we have something like 5 crore Kirana stores or 5 crore very, very small traders. These were marginalized because of e-commerce and other things, because they had to match the price of Big Basket and other guys. Although they were very, very small part of the whole thing. Now by joining JioMart to this and improving the productivity and performance, financial performance of or the viability of these stores, Reliance Jio with this Facebook kind of thing, where you would have, if you download the JioMart app, there is some mechanism. I'll send it to Prateek. He'll send it to you. It is in Bombay area. So crores of small traders which were out of reckoning, they will make a comeback in my view, and they are going to play a very, very critical role in the economy, because they are a very, very large number. In the last 4 or 5 years, they got marginalized in a big way. So this is one sector which will provide significant amount of impetus to Indian growth, because these are very, very large numbers. So they will make a comeback. I think infrastructure will make a comeback in a very, very different way. In some cases, some pharma companies which are importing from China, whatever our imports dependence on China, we'll try to make it in-house. We'll try to reduce the import content. We'll try to do make in India. So when I said capital goods companies, the ones where we are invested are the types of Larsen and Toubro, who have 3 years of order book. And other companies are multinational who do 20% or 30% exports, and 15% of that is services business. So I am very confident that our portfolio is very, very well positioned, and our companies are in a position to take this 1 or 2 months of kind of nearly zero turnover hit. So I think they are extremely well placed, and these are very distinguished companies, and they are differentiated companies, and they are world leaders in their own right. So I feel they are quite well positioned. I understand where you are coming from, that some sectors like autos or other sectors, if they are hit, it might impact. But these companies have various diversified. See, for 2 months, their turnover also will be hit. But you know, a lot of these companies will have to make improvement, will help improvement in productivity. For example, just for example, like we have ABB in our portfolio. Now, a lot of people will go for robotics, modernization, digitalization. So these are excellent companies which will benefit on this count. So that is how we have built our portfolio. So I would say high quality Indian companies, and some of these sectors like electricity, infrastructure, some of these Kirana guys directly, indirectly will make a comeback, which will spur the economy as we go along. And also some of the specialist pharmaceutical companies, some of the companies in the hospital infrastructure, they tend to benefit. So these are the big sectors which will benefit in my view. But the government focus will be more on spurring where the employment can be created. If you look around you, in the last 4 or 5 years, the jobs which got created were either this Zomato or Amazon, Flipkart, your neighborhood store, coffee shop, restaurants. So now, rather than experience, lot of focus will move on doing the physical things, which will be really again roads, railways, and railways is a very big area which this government will focus on. So I think some of these sectors will make a big comeback.
So now what I've done is some of our APs and HNI investors are also willing to participate. So I have taken them as a panelist, and they would be asking questions, so we can participate in that way. So first is Mr. Nahar, Bachraj Nahar. So he is ex Birla Corp MD. So he was willing to ask you some questions. So you can go ahead.
Yeah, Nahar Sahab, boliye. Nahar Sahab, boliye.
Good evening. Very nice.
Good evening. Namaste. How are you, sir?
Very well, very well. Thank you so much. Yeah, just a very one question only, because a lot of people are there. So I will just ask about this agriculture side and the related area, particularly whether it is pesticide or agrochemical or this two-wheeler which you have been highlighting.
Yeah.
What I feel that the agriculture, this Rabi crop is more than 5% this year, close to 300 million tons, and Kharif also, as monsoon has been predicted to be normal. So government focus will be to this particular area. So that will be the saving grace for the country. And then second thing is a lot of migrant workers have moved to the Bihar and all their places basically, Uttar Pradesh.
Yeah.
So whether that all will lead to more focus on the agriculture side, as well as also they are getting subsidies, Manrega benefit, Kisan Yojana benefit and others. So will that lend to more demand of say two-wheeler which you have described because of this problem? People will like to own the two-wheeler. So that sector whether it will benefit or come up very fast. And the second is about the pesticide and agrochemicals. So because of that, more focus where we are really fortunate to have surplus of food grains, and the government will try to capitalize on that.
So श्योर सो सर ये इसमें ऐसा है कि देखिए एग्रीकल्चर पर गवर्नमेंट का फोकस इसलिए जाएगा क्योंकि वहाँ 70% लोग रहते हैं, 14 करोड़ हाउस होल्ड 25 करोड़ में से रहते हैं. दैट इज वन फोकस. दे विल फोकस ऑन दैट बिकॉज दैट सर्व्स two perspective. One, it really people who have gone back and they become a bit safer by giving them subsidy, by directed subsidy. Second, the multiplier impact, because on the rural side, last 2-3 years, now there is room, because this year the rural expectation was very, very high. If you see the tractor numbers and other stuff, and rural side, the penetration is low for many products. So if you increase the penetration and increase the penetration of those products in the rural markets, they can really do well. So I am sure that companies like Hero Moto or Honda is more into scooters, TVS or Bajaj Auto will really provide good products, and that's why they are asking for slightly lower GST at some point in time. But I think they will focus on this very clearly because it serves, one, the political objective, and second, it really helps people who have got impacted, who have gone back basically for some time. So they will provide some kind of stimulus. I agree the demand for agrochemicals, pesticides, etc. in these sectors, some of the specialist companies have been doing well, because the key to winning here is agricultural productivity in India. If we can increase the productivity, and there is ample amount of scope to increase productivity on the agrochemical use and the kind of directed use. So I think they will go whole hog in really spurring up the demand, because a large part of states which have large part of the rural component also are highly populous states. So I agree with you that their focus will be very, very significant, and because it will help them politically and it will also help them economically, because they are the conditions they are seeing. There is a lot of fear in the larger towns, although they also must be watching TV and must be fearful. But the fear in the larger towns is much more, whereas they might also get impacted to some degree, unfortunately, because of some migration if there are cases. But generally, they are more hardworking, their immunity system is far superior, and I think they will do everything to really help this part of the economy. So I tend to agree, both these sectors would benefit because of this account.
Okay. Now the second question is, thank you so much, Mr. Nahar, for putting up the question. And now, Mr. Vijay Chandak, I would request him to put some question if he's having.
Good evening, sir. Sir, I was just listening, and even we are reading in so many press, media articles and so on, that government should provide a stimulus to the tune of say 4 to 5% of our GDP. Unless we keep this kind of the stimulation, it will not work out good well for our country. And like a lot of these European country or the emerging country we have seen, they have provided very huge amount of the stimulus to their economy.
Yeah.
So when I was analyzing the avenues which the government has to provide this stimulus, even just say for example, if we look into say printing of money as one of the avenue, and
yes.
I have seen that so many noted economists, whether you talk of Dr. Subba Rao or the Raghu Ramrajan or maybe say Ruchir Sharma and so on, everybody has warned of very dire consequences if we go for the printing of money to beyond the reasonable estimates. Right. Second option is that, sir, regarding NRI or the kind of multinational organizations which used to give a lot of money into our Indian system over a period of time.
Yes.
Here, India was the highest recipient of somewhere around say $80 billion or so, and most
Yes.
of the money has come from the Gulf regions. But
Yes.
this, because of this oil problem and the precarious situation of the Gulf economy, we don't foresee a significant amount of money come from this region.
That's
Third
right.
option with the government is either to cut the expenditures. Again,
Yeah.
is the only agency who is capable to make expenditure at this point of time. And
Yes.
no other, whether it's private sector, corporate sector, household, nobody has got this capacity to make any kind of the expenditures. Right?
Yes.
So company has got a very limited skills left with them. And the last one is, sir, to raise the taxes, which some of the IRS officers, etc., have also put a suggestion to the government. But what we have seen sometime in the year 2000, if I go back to 1930, when the Uber, Rosenberg Uber, they raised the taxes from the 25% prevailing at that point of time to 80% to take the country out of the recession. But then it has a dire consequences and company went into deep recession. So I am failed to understand, and if you can throw some light on the fact, what are the sources where from government can find out some revenues to meet our stimulus demands?
Yeah. See, yeah. Thank you for your question. See, I agree. See, if you go for large scale printing, what really happens? Although what is happening that the gold import demand is very, very low today. Gold is low. Whatever we are importing, see what we can do. It requires a very, very careful kind of. See, you have also lost taxes on GST in the first 2 months. So what it requires is careful screening of the expenditure, where, let's say, for example, I also wrote to PMO office and even to people at the top and CII, that whatever you are going to invest in telecom, etc., for making that telecom make in India, you can always defer it by 1 year. Whatever you are importing, let's say from for defense, which is not necessary other than the spares and important services, that you postpone. So what they require is recalibration.
Just let me mute.
Yeah, what they require is real recalibration of the investment. See, as I said, the most important thing is, top 500 companies in India are not going to go under. The government companies are not going to go under. What is under real stress is the guy who is in the SME, essentially. And SME output by 2-3 lakh crores, if they really inject indirectly by providing them funding at a very, very low cost and working capital needs for the next few months, 6 months. That is one very critical area to really come out of this. I agree. We can always compare this. See, it is like this: when a vehicle gets into a ditch, if you have to get out of the ditch, you have to really pull it with a crane, which is very, very heavy and very, very powerful. And government has to provide that. Government has to front load the infrastructure. So they have got projects which they have to quickly now do it. But what is happening? A lot of these states, see, the key to this is how much do we get the solution to this problem of medical issue. See, tomorrow if the number of cases come down, people go on with their normal work. Today we are working at 45%. So out of 4 valves in the heart, only 2 are working, and the 2 also are getting impacted from the other 2. So the interesting thing is, even if you open the dealerships, for example, if you open a dealership in Coimbatore and it is a non-red area, it is a green area, the manufacturing is done in, let's say, Chennai, or let's say done in Jamshedpur, which is not a red area, but components come all the way from Pune, from all the way from Dhaduheda in near. So our industries are situated in such a way that they need to really open up. And once they open up everything, the natural course of business, the oil companies, see, the source of revenue for states is liquor, oil, and registration of houses. So liquor and oil, the moment you open out economy, liquor and oil will begin to grow, because oil demand doesn't depend upon new vehicles which are sold. Whatever vehicles are in the population are on the road. If they are moving the number of kilometers they were moving earlier, you will begin to see diesel and petrol demand. State will get their tax, the government will get their excise revenue, everything. That's why they have raised by 150,000. So the everything, see, this is a circle. One man's expenditure is another man's income. This basic formula is there. So the government should get its income once they will get their income once they begin to start. And once they begin to start the activity, they will get their income. They will continue with their projects. Private sector will come in. Malls will open. With whatever less capacity utilization in the beginning, they will go back to higher capacity utilization. Most important part, I think, is that they have to really now, India, not only on multilateral agencies, but India has to really throw open the foreign direct investment in manufacturing, because we need to create jobs which are high quality jobs. We can't keep on creating jobs which are giving you 10,000-15,000 rupees a month. You have to create jobs which you give salaries of 40, 50, 60, 70,000 kind of jobs. So I think that is very, very critical, and that is where the government, which has reduced taxes last September to 25% and 17% from new this thing, today a lot of people are willing to come from China to do it here. One very interesting example just for you, that BHEL is one company where government has come out with a new model. It is saying that it had a turnover of 50,000 crores and today has 20,000 crores because of lack of power orders. Now they are saying the global giants can come in and use that manufacturing facility to manufacture for India and for the world. Now BHEL factories which are in Bhopal, Haridwar, Trichy, many other places, they are excellent factories with 9,000 engineers. So I think they can use, so I think they will go, I think point is they can today raise the resources a bit, they can stretch a bit, may not be that 7%, 8%, but 3-4%, but with a roadmap. See, everybody will pardon them if they have a roadmap, how they will fix it. So whatever we are suggesting, we have been telling them that you must go and privatize more and more companies next year. And that is way it works. Privatize more and more roads by NHAI and raise the resources. See, the world is willing to come to India if India can really do the things right. See, what has happened, that basically the focus of the government in solving issues, first the IBC issues, then steel, now power also is getting resolution. So I think now they are moving, and such kind of shocks sometimes can help them put 100% of the energy in putting economy in place. See, just for example, if they can take big decisions like demonetization, complete lockdown, GST, they can always do very simple things which are required. So I am quite optimistic that this can be a blessing in disguise, that once they see serious trouble, they can then take a big step. I agree, if India had a very, very strong currency, you could have gone for very big printing. But the fear is that if printing happens, currency depreciates, foreigners lose more money, they take out more money, and then more people don't come in, then what do you do? So I think that 50% approach is right at this point in time, and to fix the real vulnerable part, which is the SME, which is the most critical part in my view. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Vijayji, for asking the question. Now I'll ask Ravi Nevatia if he's there online. He is our business partner, so he'll go ahead with a question. So Ravi, please.
Thank you, Paras. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening, Ravi.
Yeah, sir, I would just like to ask you a question. Do you see any systemic risk in the mutual fund industry, like the episode which we saw with the Franklin thing 2 weeks back? Are we foreseeing any kind of a systemic risk or issues coming in the near future?
So I don't think, because RBI has stepped in, and even some banks are giving, although I don't know, I only handle debt, only handle equity, so I am not aware. You can check with our debt guys, but I think the authorities are well placed to take care of, because see, it will happen if the economy doesn't start. If the economy starts, it will not happen, because what had happened basically, that to my knowledge, our debt markets are very, very thin. And when everybody wants to get out of that specific door, then the stampede really happens and you really push the whole thing down. And for lack of, let's say, any kind of voice from RBI at that point in time, so maybe it would have helped. But it is very, very critical that critical part of the economy, which is the NBFCs and all other stuff, has to really improve for this to not to happen. To my understanding, there is no systemic risk to the whole system of mutual funds. But I would say, I can only say one thing from my understanding of equities, that the banks and mutual funds, everybody is very cautious in lending today, is very cautious, because they are looking for some kind of backstop to these entities. They want the business of smaller businesses, or the businesses which are economy linked, their loans to be backstopped by the government. That is why. So once the see, banks are putting today 8.5 lakh crores or 8.4 lakh crores at 3.75% with RBI. Point is that everything is closed. So once you open it, then somebody will go and take a loan. Why somebody should take a loan today morning? And they will take loan and then they will go ahead. So my personal view, there is no systemic risk in equity, at least, because even if you are wrong, you have the option of getting out if it is a reasonably liquid stock. Whereas in debt, to my understanding, authorities are well positioned and they are there to prevent any kind of problems. But I would urge you to talk to my colleague Gurbir and Prateek and take the help of our debt guys to provide you with more clearer insights.
Okay, thank you so much. Now the next question is from Mr. Kishore Shah. Mr. Kishore Shah, I would ask you to put up a question.
Namaste Ashwani, hope you are well.
Yeah, I'm fine. आप कैसे हैं? आप कैसे हैं?
All well, all well.
Yeah.
I would like to know your view about PSU divestments. There has been an intense discussion about PSU divestments for a long time, for government to raise resources for public infra spendings and all. But nothing great has been achieved so far. And if case for divestments, then we have some kind of problems like employees opposing or unions opposing. Now, particularly you talked about BPCL also. Now, BPCL, where the government is not allowing them to fix the prices freely, do you think Aramco will ever come to BPCL to buy out that unit?
No, see,
or various kind of divestments we are talking about, like ILFS. Now, ILFS has many road assets and all, but they have not been able to sell anything in the last 2 years.
See, I would say, I would agree with you कि क्या हो रहा है कि there is lot of lethargy in decision making. See what has happened. If this BPCL was sold when the prices were 45, 46, 47, they were $70 in the beginning. Now, and they went down all the way to $16 and now back to 31, 32, and maybe once the world opens up, they will go back to 45, 50. So the speed is of essence, and you have to give some kind of real comfort to those guys, those who are buying your assets. Particularly, see, BPCL employees is not an issue, or Concor employees is not an issue, because these are not fairly overstaffed companies. Shipping corporation maybe, or if you tomorrow decide to do SAIL or NMDC or other places, quite possible. But there are two things which are happening. A lot of these companies are 30, 35 years old or 40 years old. So natural retirement is also happening, and they are not inducting new people. But see, India में देखिए, whenever the things happen or reforms happen, they happen out of the need for money. Even this year, this came because they had an ambitious program on infrastructure, and they wanted to really push the reforms in a very big way. Do the infrastructure. I think boss, they will go ahead with infrastructure. They now badly need money. With the divestment, I'm sorry. With divestment, because they badly need money, and this is the only way now. Because what is also happening, if you look at the other side of it, see, lot of these companies, if you go back 15 years, the physical output actually has not increased in many of the companies, although they had good assets, they had made investments. So they know that we have wasted so much resource in this, and if we continue to do with this, sometimes some of the companies might meet the fate of MTNL or the BSNL kinds, where we'll have to inject very significant amount of money. So I feel they will not do just because everybody is more wiser, but because the need to raise resources has come basically. And some of these are very natural advantages. For example, this is just for calculation sake. I'm just giving you a calculation. Don't take it as a recommendation for everybody in this group. For example, 7 million tons of capacity of SR Gujarat was sold at 42,000 crores, which means 6,000 crores per per metric ton. Now, per million ton, I'm sorry, per million ton. They had 7 million tons capacity, 42,000 crores Arcelor paid to buy the SR plant without much infrastructure on backward integration on iron ore. Now, SAIL has 20 million tons of capacity. If you go to sell SAIL, it will fetch you 1,20,000 crores. And you minus the debt, which is 52,000 crores, the value will be 60,000 crores, the equity value. And if you sell 75% of that, you get 45,000 crores. Now, will the government go and do this? It may look like impossible, but the point is that these are companies which have a very, very natural advantage, and some of these places are quite modernized. They have invested 40-50,000 crores in this facility. They have 3 billion tons, a significant amount of iron ore which is lying there in this thing. So I think it is the compulsion which will force them. I agree with you. There has been a delay. But this time around, I feel it will be the compulsion to balance the budget next year. That is what will force them to go aggressive on this. I agree, Aramco may have doubt, but see, for those companies which have significant trillions of dollars of market cap, and with normalized price of $45, and they have oil, they need refining assets. And India, at least now, I feel the EV, electric vehicle and all will be pushed back a bit, because it was more fashionable than to really do so in a country like India. A lot of time got wasted in India on developing those, where we are very, very competent, and we went to BS6 with very fuel efficient vehicles now. And then they started talking electric. So I think oil has a great feature. I mean, India, the demand is very, very low as compared to the size of the economy. We can have 2.5-3 times the demand which is there in China, which is maybe 12 million barrels a day, and we are at 4 in 5, 6, 7 years time. And still you have a lot of people to buy cars and a lot of people to buy vehicles which are less fuel efficient in the higher end vehicles, as and when the economy. So I think they will do, and people will come. I think because it adds significantly to them. At that point, is taken that interference in these oil pricing has to really go down. You can't at your will change the duties all of a sudden. But today it is the need of the hour. This is extraordinary situation, I think, and that is why they have done it.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Kishore Saji. So now to tell you, Kishore Saji is the ex-Balrampur Chini. So you must be knowing him that way.
Kishore ji, क्या हाल है? कैसे?
All well, sir. All well.
मधु वगैरह आपको बहुत याद करते रहते हैं, जब भी मिलते हैं.
मेरा I'm in touch with him.
मधु और सुनील से आप टच में होंगे, I'm sure.
हाँ, बात होती रहती है.
जी. Thank you, sir.
Well, good.
So now coming down to next questions, couple of questions. I am merging it with one, which is these questions are with our business partners and APs. So the common question which comes to me, and many of them has written to me today as well, is about the portfolio stance. What should be the portfolio stance of the retail investors? Because majority of them are in deep losses. And now the thing is, as Howard Marks says, that you have to calibrate your portfolio, whether you need to be aggressive and opportunistic, or whether you need to be risk averse and defensive in your investments. So which cycle we are in at present, whether an investor should wait, what should be the stance of an investor or a retail investor, whether to go to SIPs or lump sum investments, how should the portfolio stance be taken, and what should be the allocation strategy?
Yeah. My feel is that, see, one thing is that people who are, let's say, 55, 60 years of age, they should always be in SIP kind of mode. Don't take their lump sum, because people who retire from government companies or banks or public jobs, they should, because see, one is this markets in the last 3, 4, 5 years, if you see, they are very different markets from what they used to be 15 years back. So they should put less money, and they should go via the SIP route, and they should have some room for fixed income kind of thing. So they should have maybe 50-60% into debt, and let's say 40% into equity, and that also in a very small way. But when it comes to people who are already invested, my only thing is that this is kind of very external event, because till 12th of February, we were at a high of 12,200, and today we are at 9,200 or 9,100. So we are down 33% nearly, and that is the number. Some funds are down 20, some funds are down 32, 33, some funds are down even 34. But I would say Last 4-5 years, except consumption, nothing has worked in India. And actually, that is where the financials became 40% of the whole index. And the key is, how does the government really handle? Because today, even before the COVID, banks had money, but borrowers were little. So you have to fix the economy demand. The key to this is, will the government be able, because of its policies, its economic demand? So that is what they are planning to really do. And I think I'm quite sure, if they decide to do, if they have taken a lot of political decisions which are difficult, economic decisions in favor of the country are going to be easy. So I think people should continue with their SIPs, because these are the times. You think of it like 2009 was 50% down, and 52-53% down from the peak. And those who kept their SIPs right throughout the year got into SIPs at the very, very low point. Although I would say sector leadership will undergo a change. It will go from financials to other things, because financials, they are basically in the business of borrowing from one and lending to another. Whereas the manufacturing companies or the infra companies or companies non-financials, their importance at some point in the market will increase. So those who have not invested, this is a great opportunity. Start with 20%, then maybe for the next 1-2 months, keep on doing. Let's say every day you keep on putting money. Because I don't think the moment the market begins to take notice that government has come out with reasonable steps, as our Kishorji and the other participant was saying, the gentleman, if we do very big printing and then currency fails and money goes out, then we are not left with any substance. If we do very little, then also we have problems on economy. So I think they will take the middle path, because lot of investors globally, you and I may say that Facebook and other people don't look at S&P or Moody and don't come in, but lot of investors do come in. And at a time when oil prices today are low and our remittances also are in trouble, we do not want that source to go away. Anyway, India is likely to be a very large recipient of foreign direct investment if they can fix infrastructure. So I think a lot of movement from China to this country will happen, in my opinion. It is a time-consuming process, but the direction will start. Because people have understood, if you were in London and you were in Europe, would you like to easily go to China again, given what has happened? So even the Japanese are putting out incentives to put money. And India has that way a good democratic system, and India is a peaceful kind of country. So I think investors should continue to do their SIPs, and those who have not invested, put 25% now and put, let's say, remaining 75%, whatever you have to put, your equity part of 75% in the next 2-3 months, in my opinion. Once the market begins to notice about FY22 and more and more factories open, this COVID doesn't expand, I think there is no reason for us. There are 130 crore people. There is the same government. Just because things have not worked doesn't mean that they will not work, because somewhere the medical solutions of 80, 90, 100 companies are after the vaccine. Maybe some solution will be found out in the next few months. And once the market begins to take notice of that, you will see better prices. I am not saying that correction cannot happen. A correction may happen, but you think of it like this. Maybe 7, 8, 10% correction can happen in a normal situation if somebody really pulls out money. But I would urge each and every investor on this call, and whatever your guys who are on the call, this is not the time to move away from equity. This is the time to embrace equity, because equities, when the prices are high, people want to buy it. When the prices are low, this is an attractive price. So people should embrace equities. Don't look at it on a day-to-day basis. And wherever the funds are there, wherever the credible managers are there, although the performances may be down. For example, our own fund, the performance may be down, but if you go name by name, we have the best-in-class companies in India. And in India, if the growth has to resume, which at some point it will, and it will surprise many of us, you will see it cannot surpass these companies. It cannot bypass the companies which we have in the fund. For example, if the two-wheeler demand is there, we have two-wheeler player. If the capital goods demand or export demand is there, we have exports. If you need robotics, we have robotics. If you need oil and gas, we have oil and gas. If you need divestment, we have divestments. So if you need banking, we have banking. So I think this is how we have placed our portfolio. Our performance is down, but I am very confident then in an up move, 6-9 months down the line, we'll be able to significantly improve as we were able to do between August and Feb before this downturn came. But I am very sure that our portfolio is very, very uniquely and beautifully positioned. And a lot of people today have lack of faith. The key is this: the SMEs are impacted, but if they are given proper stimulus, they will come out of it. Oil prices are low, that is benefiting India as a country. Lot of savings, a bit are going to go up, which will help the economy. Banks, the larger 4-5 banks are in a very good shape. There is absolutely no issue about their capital. The 4 private banks and 2 public sector banks, they are in a good shape. Consumers overall, the low income guys, maybe they are slightly leveraged. There could be some NPS, but it is largely discounted in prices. So I have no reason to believe that aspiration, income, capability of this country has gone away, or the need for economic growth has gone away. I am very confident that we will have a positive surprise in 4 to 5 months. I would say this Diwali season we'll begin to see positive surprise. And government also, we have to wait for which way government handles. And if we are able to contain COVID at nearby these levels, or maybe 10, 15, 20% higher, and contain it and start the economy, we'll see good results. And anyway, the asking rate, as I told in the beginning, in 3 years you make 18% in FD. You take out the tax of 25%, you make 14%. So I am very, very sure that we'll surpass this 14% very shortly, in my opinion. When I say very shortly, not next week, but maybe in the next 6-7 months itself, from these levels also, once we begin to really fix the house in order. So that is where I stand and my optimism on this country, because the problems come in, but problems also bring with it various solutions. Solutions will come, and we have high quality companies in this country which will do well. And if there is a tailwind of government spend infra, we will be on our way to superior growth next year. This year, obviously, because of 2 months output, overall growth is going to be subpar.
Great. So that's a really very optimistic and aggressive view to make at this point in time, when there is gloom and doom all around and people are only talking about negative things. Not a single positive thing we can come up with and say that probably things are going to be on a mend. So
important thing, just to interrupt, the valuations are, there is a spectrum of valuation where companies are selling at 10% dividend yield, and there is on one side there is 2% dividend yield and 60p. These are great companies, but the divergence in market is today big. Maybe what will happen, many of the indices may not move smartly, but a lot of these companies will provide significant alpha which have low participation in the index. But the potential upside for alpha creation actually starts now. It is the big story which will, if you look at the index on 23rd March, whatever 76, 7700 and now 20% higher, I think there is a big opportunity more on the absolute side. This is what I would like to say.
Great. Yeah. So you have summed up and in one stroke given answers to many of our APs who were asking these questions, Mr. Naresh Mukherjee, Mr. Sanjay Kundu, Mr. Prakash Chand Jha, and Mr. Suresh Kumar Taparia. Now, the thing is, when you say that things will turn out to be optimistic, what is the single biggest risk you think is there in the market and which can derail any kind of optimism?
See, the single biggest risk, in my opinion, is the health risk. If we are not able to contain these infections, that is the risk. Because what happens that when it creates significant amount of fear, people see, everybody is watching either India Today or CNN, or everybody has become a doctor or epidemiologist in his own sense. And these are science subjects. The solution has to come from science. See, you can see if people are worried about, let's say, moving out, people are worried. If so, there has to be some sanity at some point in time. See, good thing which has happened that it only happened in some of the places where international tourists were coming from. Our own people who were coming back from Italy, UK, or wherever, coming via Dubai from UK, etc. And it happened. Second, it also happened because there are some highly dense areas in many cities. So I think in a new way, I think what it will do, it has come to be known that we really need to improve the physical conditions, which is then comes back to housing for all and right kind of housing where there is lot of hygiene, and that is going to be very, very big, because today the rich man who is staying in Pedder Road or rich man who is staying in a rich area, he brought it to his driver or maid who is staying in an area where there is the problem. The unfortunate maid or the driver did not go to Italy, but he got it from his boss who went to Italy and came back, or his sons or daughter who came back from Italy. Unfortunately, this is not to put blame on either side, but this is how it has happened. So I think hygiene, other things, it will put lot of impact on improving this, because I believe, see, one very important thing is that in markets, valuations is a very, very critical thing. The moment, see, even in 2009 when there was depth of darkness, the difference between 2009 and now, the difference is that you can't go out. It is not that all the people have lost all the money and all the savings. See, unfortunately, they keep on talking about those 27% kind of unemployment rate. That is not the real unemployment rate. A lot of people will come back and a lot of businesses are ongoing. It is not that 25% of India is going to get unemployed. That is not the right number. So when people come back, maybe in some cases, some businesses, as I said, the airlines, restaurants, and travel companies, which really came up, because these were the businesses, because of the low airlines ticket, significant competition, because of OYO, lower pricing of the rooms in hotels. A lot of these businesses went up very, very smartly, and therefore the demand went up. So in my opinion, some of these sectors are impacted. They need greater help at some point in time, but they require help to be the solution. See, if I give you tomorrow, I tell you, or if somebody gives me an option that I'll give you at 4,000 rupees, go and stay in Taj Bengal Suite, I'm not going to go, because the fear has to go away. Question is that I missed your core question again. If you could ask me.
Yeah, I was asking about that the portfolio stance, what one should take.
Yeah, portfolio stance, I would say you must see, assume in your mind that 10-12% it can fall, because that it can fall even it had fell at 3,000 Sensex in 2003. I remember when all these companies, many of these companies were very, very low priced in those years. Now think of it, you have one side, you have 10% downside, and probably I am saying we go back to the normal return of mutual funds, which is 12-13%. Let's say in 3 years you make 12 into 12 into 12. It will not come once, by either it will come 24, then will become 0, or become minus 10, then will become 30 and plus. So in 3 years time, we'll again go back to the compounding return, because we have given away 30% on the index and given away 40, 50, 60% on many of the stocks, which are reasonably good quality companies. So today, earnings yield, which is inverse of P, 1 by P, which is E by P, on many companies, the earnings yield is 16%, your dividend yield is 10%, and your 10-year yield is 6%, and it may fall to 5% or 5.2% or 4.5%. So today there is plenty of money. They need to really reorganize to get this going. So my idea is that whosoever is invested, please don't take out any money. There is not the time to take out money. You may face another 5-7% downside. Stay with it, invest more money, and go for the medium to long term. Think about 2, 3, 4 years where you can be, and those who are invested, take advantage of those who are in SIP mode, must accelerate the SIP, because savings rate in India is going to go up, but the interest rates in India, because of the zero interest policy across the world, and maybe currency appreciation at some point in time, when our exports normalize. See, today there is risk aversion. This money is going out because globally the businesses will turn out to be improving faster, because they are opening up faster. Like US will open faster than what India will. So a lot of exports and other stuff will happening. But whatever we were importing, like gold and other stuff, we will try to either reduce that, because that is part of our discretionary spend. Whatever we are exporting out of India is not discretionary. Technology is not discretionary. Technology is a basic need. Whatever we are exporting out of India, we are part of supply chain and auto components for smaller vehicles, construction equipment, which is more infrastructure led. So I think people should stay positive, and I would say equity should be overweighted with a 2-3 year perspective in mind, and that is the right way to go. But the younger the age, the more the investment in equity. If somebody is 30 years old, he can put 70% in equity, but not 70% on day one. Put 25% now, then wait for another 10, 15, 20 days. Because when we come back, the upside is going to be substantially bigger than the downside. The downside is 10% on the index basis. But the upside can be very meaningful on index basis and even more meaningful on a stock-wise basis or a portfolio basis. This is how your investors should play the whole thing.
Okay, great. So this was a really enriching experience to understand your views and your takes on the market and sectors. That was really truly enriching, and thank you so much. And to conclude with, I'll put up a line that when risk perception is high, then probably risk is low, and when risk is low, the return probably could be higher. So this is what Howard Marks says. So we'll conclude with this, and thank you.
Thank you very much. And I would just like to say again my declaration that whatever stocks I have said, they are just for illustration. They are not my recommendation. So please convey it to all your colleagues. This is as per the SEBI norm. This is just to really amplify what I am saying. But there is no reason to be pessimistic. Lot of pessimism priced in. If some reasonable actions happen on Indian government part, I think we will be on our way up. But the more this curve remains lower, the better it is. See, जितना दिन तक सस्ता मिल रहा है, जब महंगा हो गया तो फिर आपको लेने का मन करेगा, उसका फायदा नहीं है फिर. तो आपको जितना सस्ता मिल रहा है, buy as much as possible. If 100 rupees can buy, let's say, if the NAV is 40, it can buy 2.5 units. If the NAV is 33, it can buy 3.3 units. So this is how you must look at it. You are buying it for the long term, and you must urge all your investors not to take out money at this point in time, because the potential return in India is pretty high. And I think this kind of shock will make the policy makers to think logically and go for higher economic growth, because इससे निकलने का रास्ता ही higher economic growth है. Because आज अगर हमारे 4-5 साल में बहुत बड़ा ग्रोथ आ रहा होता, तो देखिए 2009 में क्या हुआ था कि हमारे पास बहुत बड़ा ग्रोथ का टेलविंड था. 4-5 साल हम ग्रो कर रहे थे, तभी तो गवर्नमेंट स्टिमुलस दे पाई. आज क्यों नहीं दे पा रही? क्योंकि आज हमारा 4-5 साल का ग्रोथ बहुत सॉलिड नहीं था. We were again in leverage, consumer was leveraged, government also solve नहीं कर पाई. So I think lot of sectors and lot of high quality companies which are in portfolio of Nippon India Mutual Fund will do well, and all other good mutual funds will also do well. And we wish everybody and our competitors also all the best, because this is a big opportunity for everybody in India. Whether he is invested in my fund or in HDFC, it doesn't matter till the time he is invested. But here on the Nippon platform, I would like to say, we will put all our energy, all our effort, all our inclination on improving the return of the investor from a longer term time frame. So thank you very much for hosting, and if there are any further queries, please send it to my colleagues and we'll answer it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for spreading so much of optimism in gloom and doom kind of scenario. And thank you to all our attendees and APs and partners who have been with us for this webinar, and we'll keep on conducting such webinars and enlighten you with the think tanks of the industry. Thank you so much.
Thank you.